So here is the big reveal. Back to your breakup moment. You kept giving, but it wasn't valued. Your emotional investments, your readiness to welcome her back, all taken for granted. The more you gave, the less she saw its worth, diminishing value with every effort. And what's actually important here is when your consistent efforts go unappreciated, your world shrinks to this very woman who rejects you. Your brain receives a stark message. You are worthless. And you begin to feel like you are. You lose self-esteem. You lose motivation. It feels like everything you've done has led you to nothing because of her rejection. And these clever yet maddening parts of your brain interpret this dynamic as if your genetic legacy is being erased from humanity forever. It's like the mother of your potential children is abandoning you, the ultimate fear for any man. And the fascinating thing is, it doesn't matter if you have kids or not, it doesn't matter if you are 20 years old or 70. These systems do not operate on a checklist basis. They do not have a checklist for how many kids you already have. They are analog. They're processing the raw, simple signals from the outside world in real time. And by chasing your woman, you're bombarding them with these signals of rejection again. It is as if Mother Nature herself is looking right at you through this woman and declaring you unworthy. And if you're wondering what's driving you to chase her like crazy, it's them. These systems, they're incredibly smart, yet simple. They're the reason you cannot sleep and all you can think about is her. They're behind your restlessness and obsessive thoughts about her. Some refer to this as trauma bonding, hormonal withdrawal basically. And your pursuit of a woman who has rejected you sends the same message to your brain. You're unfit for procreation. Each rejection, each unreciprocated investment reinforces this perception. Do you understand what happens with your limbic system and lizard brain? They go into panic mode. They perceive continuous rejection, and without the buffer of multiple partners, like in ancient tribes, they compel you to chase her even more desperately. But here's where it gets really twisted. This constant rejection starts to affect your perceived internal status. So, what is status really? Your status is a reflection of your perceived value in a social hierarchy. Your subconscious is constantly evaluating your actions, much like a vigilant game master, based on what it sees, how you act, react, interact. It assigns you a kind of internal rating. Think of it as your subconscious keeping score, adjusting your perceived value, your social ranking on the fly. This invisible ELO, this MMR of life, determines how you're perceived by others, and, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. It is a continuous dynamic process deeply rooted in your everyday actions and decisions. So, if you're repeatedly rejected, it is perceived as a signal that you're of lower status. Consequently, these parts of your brain adjust your status even more. They lower your status. But why, you ask? To prevent you from challenging the actual players, the alphas, which could lead to your demise. You see, if your brain didn't adjust your status, you might try to behave like an alpha. But in reality, since you're facing rejection continuously, you're obviously not one of them, so engaging in a fight with a true alpha under this illusion will be fatal for you. And here is the deadly loop. To ensure your survival and prevent you from clashing with true alphas, your brain demotes you even more. So, what does this demotion entail? When your status is lowered, your body begins to conserve energy for survival. It does this by reducing your motivation. Your brain curbs your aggression to keep you safe, because how can you compete when you face constant rejection? You cannot. And so they dampen your aggressiveness so you do not end up challenging and getting hurt by the real dominant chats. And this leaves you unable to compete, feeling depressed, and as if your life is falling apart. This is why chasing a woman who rejects you is basically a self-deletion sequence. It breaks your heart, warps your soul, and devours your spirit It's like fucking being demoted from diamond to bronze in your League of Legends. But imagine that you also lose all your skills and experience, and you do not even want to play anymore. So your subconscious does this so you will not get destroyed by actual diamonds. Hell, nowadays it's probably challengers. I've never actually played it after season 2 or 3. And here's something really interesting. It doesn't matter how much money you make or how powerful you are objectively. The parts of your brain responsible for your status and rank do not understand abstract concepts like wealth. So if you do not live your life as a wealthy man while being wealthy, they consider you being poor and low status. Do you understand? They see you engaging in low status, low rank behavior like pleading with her, asking her to come back, begging. They notice you're getting nothing in return, just breadcrumbs, and facing rejection over and over. And they begin to act, to alter your actual status. Your internal status and rank are, by the way, primarily biological parameters. We're talking about pure biology here, not psychology. These brain systems start to adjust your status and rank by altering your hormonal levels. I can almost guarantee that if you take blood tests right after a breakup, you'll find your hormonal levels are a mess. Essentially, as I've just said, this is a form of slow self-destruction, self-deletion. It is even worse than you might have thought. And you know what? This cycle had a beginning. There was this moment when you forgot that you're a king, a warrior. You lost sight of that horizon, that goal, that purpose you were supposed to chase, capture, transform. You forgot about this goal. And by the way, this greater goal doesn't actually have to be earth-shattering. It essentially means understanding what you truly want in life, recognizing your inner strengths and capabilities, and striving to excel in your chosen field, whether it's your business, your job, a research project. What matters is your dedication to it. Maybe your aim is to be the best carpenter in your county. The specific field doesn't really matter. Again, your limbic system doesn't understand such abstract concepts as, for example, your actual job position. It's all about your behavioral patterns. So even if your passion lies in collecting fucking Beanie Babies or Funko Pops, man, you can still be perceived as a leader if you're the one who knows all the best places to buy them, who owns the rarest items like Silver Batman or some shit. You're more than just a collector, you're dominating that space. She sees you, she craves you. So just go for it. You've probably heard that classic dating advice, right? If you're into nerdy stuff, you should keep it under wraps and suppress it. Complete and utter nonsense, and a certain path to miss the one. So I've got this client in Greece, right? He's a fully grown man, but totally geeked out about Marvel. Not the old school Hulk or Iron Man stuff, but even the latest series. Dude has like 100 figurines, buys them, sells them, the whole 9 yards. For the longest time he was super secretive about his passion, especially around women. And it was weird because lots of women these days are into this shit actually. His dating game was pretty much a hide-and-seek affair. He'd keep his nerd side under wraps, charm a lady into thinking he's something he's not. He would date for a bit, but eventually the truth would come out, and the woman would start to back off just a little. He'd panic, try to reel her back in. You know the drill. She leaves for good. So fast forward to about 3 years ago, he's had it. He just stops trying to mask his true self. We had a long talk, and he decides to stop caring. By the way, the moment you stop giving a damn, confidence just naturally kicks in, if you didn't know that. So there he was on one of his dates, which was going really well. He's sitting across from this cute girl, and she hits him with the age-old question, "What's your hobby?" Now remember, this is the moment he usually dreads, but not this time. He leans in and says, "I collect Marvel action figurines." It was almost like he was daring her to judge him. And she's like, "Oh, I like them. They're so cute." She had barely any clue about the Marvel universe, had seen maybe 1 or 2 movies. A true gem of a woman, you know? They're dating now. So, they're in a relationship. The fascinating thing about what I'm doing is that you can actually see the results, see how it turned out, and then ask both parties, what were they thinking? She didn't care about figures. She liked his confidence and wanted for him to like her. Thus, she accepted his passion. And then, as they begin dating, she started getting into this hobby too, because he was into that. It was his true passion. She is captivated not so much by what you are saying. She doesn't need to grasp every word. The energy you emit speaks volumes. You're no longer just another guy, a man driven by a mission, and your limbic system and her limbic system doesn't comprehend difference between Funko Pops and actual gems, diamonds, whatever. This, my friend, is what true magnetism is about. Your passion becomes a beacon cutting through the mundane. It says more about you than any forced conversation ever could. Dive into whatever you're passionate about and excel. So, if you hadn't lost sight of that, you wouldn't have shifted your emotional focus when she started pulling away. The moment she pulled back, a seed of doubt was planted into your mind. What if she's serious? What if I am the kind of man who can be rejected? Am I unworthy? And this is what triggered the entire avalanche. And now you're here. And by the way, that's exactly why I'm here too. So this very process led me here. I wouldn't be doing this, sharing this knowledge and experience with you, if I hadn't gone through my own breakup back in my early 20s. That experience served as a catalyst for my current activity. So that's the story. Now, let's finally delve into what we can actually do about it. So, the fuck are you gonna do, boy? When your plan fails? When you get knocked the fuck down on a fucking canvas? When everything falls apart in your life and your plan is fucked up? What the fuck are you gonna do?
There's only one motherfucking option! Stay fucking hard!
There are just two steps. Firstly, based on all we've discussed, you must stop engaging in self-sabotaging and self-harming activities. You stop trying to close the distance between you and your partner, because if you don't, you'll fall out of balance, split your differential, and tip the fuck over. It will destroy you. So we do just that. This first step, the moment you stop, it immediately communicates to your brain that you've ceased engaging in low-status activities, preventing further deterioration of your status and rank. This also signals to the universe that you're returning to the path of strength and purpose. Next, we must refocus our gaze on the horizon. How can we do that? Simple, just answer this one question. What is the response of a man with a purpose, a man whose eyes are fixed on the horizon, when confronted with a woman who failed to see his value? Just keep in mind that clubbing them and dragging them back to your cave is not within the scope of today's lessons, kids. So, it is walking the fuck away. And that's exactly what we do. So we tear apart the script of societal norms and pull the fuck away as a response. What you've been told on the internet by those 50 years old plus YouTube boys and girls about some method, rule or strategy known as no contact is in reality the most simple, obvious and efficient response to meeting a person who doesn't recognize your true value. But how do you sell courses and coaching calls about walking away if you're not as smart as I am? You don't. You slap a new label on it. No contact. Suddenly it is a strategy, a method, a rule. Now you need a method or a strategy to walk away. You've forgotten communication chart, forgotten how to walk away. It is all your fault, isn't it? And since it's something new, you think, this might work. Maybe I should pay for this. So, what the fuck do you actually do, son? Here is a long-awaited crash course on how to walk away. So, she took what's inside you, tried it, and fail to see the value, then threw it all away. You take a moment to contemplate. Just a moment. And without saying a word, you turn around and walk away. The wind picks up, making your coat wave stylishly. Your hands are in your pockets. Suddenly you're holding a flask, 20-year-old malt whiskey. As you walk away, you take a sip and remember, it is her fucking gift, and so you throw it away. You light up a cigar then. It's a Greek cigar, so strong you could kill a man with it. It still costs more than your ex's heart. Rain starts to fall, but you keep walking down the road. I know it sucks, but you keep walking. And she's standing there watching your back. Imagine that. That's monumental. You're the man who walked away. Do you understand the power in that? The power is in your commitment not to turn around no matter what. She realizes you're serious. She made a decision. It wasn't your choice. This will play an important role in the future. You did everything you could. Now she's facing the ultimate consequences. She doesn't know how serious you are. This time, you're for real. If you had tried to fix the relationship, she'd think you'd chase her again. She is prepared for that, confident she can return to you if your new plans fail. But as you walk away, doubt creeps in. She starts to think, is he for real? What if he's gone for good this time? It is a whole new game when she has this thought. Suddenly, the value of what you offered begins to increase. And while she's watching your back, your eyes are on the horizon. But what if you begin to doubt yourself? And what if you begin to think like, hey, are you coming? You begin to peek. Are you running to me yet? Why aren't you texting me? That monumental moment is now ruined, because it will be clear you are not serious. You'll likely run back to her in a few days, further inflating her ego. And then there will be the temptation to text her. You feel your phone in your pocket, a direct line to her, and start crafting a casual, maybe witty message in your mind, and you're like, what if she responds? What if? What if? Just imagine, you walk away, she's still watching, and you pull out your phone to send her a message. She sees right through it. It looks childish, like you're just pretending to walk away, but desperately waiting for her response. Then there's the idea to block her. It seems like a bold statement of seriousness, but it comes off as resentful, angry. If you're genuinely walking away, it doesn't matter if she's in your contacts or not. Your focus is on the horizon. What about posting about how great your life is now? Those photos with strangers or claims of newfound freedom, that looks immature and childish as well. She will not be fooled. She knows it's just a show of neediness. Because in reality, the post-breakup phase is tough, and trying to pretend otherwise is not convincing. During this time, your sole focus should be on yourself and your future, not on impressing or provoking a reaction. By the way, even thinking about her is a sign that you are not really walking away. I'm telling about what she's going to do only because this way it will be easier to stop thinking about her, because you'll know for certain what to expect from her. And as you march firmly away from the shadow of your past relationship, your resolve will be tested in the most unexpected ways. Because when she sees you're serious this time, truly committed to moving on, she might deploy subtle tactics to coax you into breaking your resolve. She'll send her demons to deal with you. Her birthday's coming up. The polite thing would be to send wishes, right? The demons whisper, And so you celebrate her birthday by treating yourself to the most luxurious cake you can find. Then you walk past the cafe and that song, the one you both loved, plays on the radio. The urge to share this moment, to reconnect over a shared memory, surges within you, but you resist. And at times, after a few drinks, your phone will seem like the perfect tool to mend things. Drunk me has got this figured out, you think. And sometimes she sends her agents, her most powerful demons, the succubi, her friends, to check on you. Karen seems a bit down lately, they say. Karen has been asking about you, they hint, their tone full of false sympathy. They're baiting you, hoping you'll bite and start pouring your heart out. But you do not take the bait. You continue on your path, unfazed. So, if you manage to stay strong, if you dodge every single demon, you'll face one of the final tests. This is the moment that will either make or break your journey towards recovery and a brighter future. It is the defining moment that separates those who triumph, who move on to greener pastures, from those who fall back into the abyss. Out of nowhere, your phone vibrates. It is a name you haven't seen in a while. Your heart skips a bit. What could it be, you wonder? You open it and you see the magical message you've been waiting for, enduring suffering, pain and loneliness. Hey, how are ya? What the fuck am I looking at? What the actual fuck? How am I? And a smiling emoji. Do you comprehend the amount of disrespect they're displaying you by sending you all this bullshit? When they do this shit after literally shattering your heart to pieces, after all you've been through, and they send you this garbage, as if nothing happened. And they do not stop there. They keep poking and prodding with messages like, I've been thinking of you, or I miss you. The audacity is almost laughable, the epitome of disrespect. This isn't just a message, it is a test of your resolve, your dignity, your newfound strength. In this moment you have a choice. You can either fall back into the trap, reply, and potentially undo your progress, or you can stand firm, ignore the message, and continue your journey forward. This is your moment of truth, and the ego behind her words is almost tangible. Like when they say, I miss you, it is not about missing the connection or the shared moments. It's about them, their needs, their wants. It's like they're saying, hey, my emotional needs aren't being met. Can you come up and fill this void for me? Where is my dog is the actual message. Where is the dog? Bring the dog to me. I'm in need of some attention, validation, and perhaps something more, considering the needs of modern times. And it is almost as if they can sense when you're finally getting over them, when you're finally moving on. It is uncanny how many times I've heard stories where just as someone is beginning to heal, beginning to find peace, their ex suddenly reappears, sending a seemingly innocent message. It is like they have a sixth sense for when you're no longer entangled in the emotional web they spun around you, and that's when they decide to reach out. And this phenomenon isn't just a coincidence. It is a testament to the profound connection that relationships forge. When you start to detach, to truly let go and focus on yourself, your energy changes. You're no longer sending out signals of longing or desperation. Instead, you radiate independence, strength, and a sense of self-assuredness. And somehow, they pick up on this shift. It is crucial to understand this dynamic for what it is. A play of power and control, not a genuine attempt to reconcile or rebuild something meaningful. The timing of their message, coming just as you're finding your footing, is designed to unsettle you, to pull you back into the emotional chaos you've worked so hard to escape. So when that message pops up, just as you're getting your life back on track, remember the journey you've been on. Remember the path, the growth, the strength you've gained. And ask yourself, do you really want to go back to square one? Or do you choose to keep moving forward towards a future where your happiness and well-being are no longer tied to someone else's whims and fancies? The decision you make will shape the course of your life. Choose wisely. And they're completely hideous with these messages. Oh, I've been thinking about us. So, remember that moment? I've been scrolling through our chat history. Do you remember that? No shit, I remember that. Merry Christmas. Why are you ignoring me? And people respond, they buy into this shit, and they reply. So if you responded before, you know that the moment they get a response, the validation they sought from you, they vanish. It is as if they weren't really reaching out. Do you know why? Your response is still treated as a major step towards them. It is not treated like something neutral or a step back. This still projects dependency. They'll still perceive it as if you were desperately waiting for their message all this time. So there is a popular misconception that ignoring them is immature. It is only immature if you're sitting like a child, making a show. However, if ignoring them is a natural outcome of you being busy with your damn life, with your purpose, then it is not immature at all, by definition. I've just had this guy from London I was consulting who received that hideous text from his ex, and he's been struggling to get over her for a whole year. It is shockingly common nowadays, but it always gets to me. There were periods when he felt a lot better, and then moments when he thought he will be alone forever. You know, what I call the mild post-breakup experience. You sort of know you'll be alright, but you still feel like crap, and sometimes you wonder if you're doomed to be alone forever. His story was pretty similar to what I went through after my own breakup. So here's the real zinger. Just when he's finally not thinking about her for almost a month, a first for him, he gets this unexpected text from her. How's it going? And he'd read somewhere on the internet that you should always respond neutrally if your ex reaches out. So he decides to reply, thinking it is the right thing to do. He told me, I just had to do it. I felt like this is the right move, and I was expecting a response. I thought she'd just shy and embarrassed, and I got to help her make a move. What happens next? She ghosts him, just like that. Leaves him hanging after stirring everything up again. She was just fishing for a bit of validation, little attention, and once she got her fix, she was gone. Zero empathy, I swear. She didn't even think about what he went through. She didn't care. The level of disrespect in that is just staggering, astronomical. He was devastated, man. He bought into the article's promise that responding would at least lead to a conversation, and that's when he came to me. We had to create a tailor-made recovery plan because this had been dragging on for years. That last message he sent, it was like a final nail in his emotional coffin. He's doing alright now. Anyway, when you get their message, as you contemplate a reply, you see it, a web woven with words and emojis, and there she waits, a spider in the center, patient for the buzz of a caught fly. But of course, as you're walking away, you ignore her tricks. It gets even more interesting sometimes. They start dropping likes on your social media posts, and then there are those accidental run-ins on the street. You might think it's rare, but I see this stuff happening weekly. It is pretty standard, especially if you're efficient with your recovery strategy. And at this point you think you've passed all the tests, right? But it's just like in your favorite video game. You defeat the boss, and there's a second stage, and the boss's health bar refills and stretches across the screen. Because one eerie evening, you'll sense something odd, a dark presence, a strange smell in the air, a stench, and then you'll hear a scratching sound like a rat clawing at wood. So, you put on your L3 Harris PVS 31A, you grab your Remington, and cautiously you approach your front door. The stench growing stronger. You open the door. Oh, hi, Karen! And there she is, in the shadows. I've been thinking, why aren't you calling us anymore? But you left, Karen. You fucking left. Yes, but still, can we talk? Can I come in? Now, here's what you do next, and this is crucial. Because people often make grave mistakes at this stage of no contact. It is deadly serious. So you say to her, "On your knees, Karen." And she, bewildered, kneels. And then you... declare, "I am with the Lord now, Karen. I am with Jesus Christ. Repent." And she transforms into a serpent, her original form. And you have to fight her Dark Souls style. And then the real journey begins, your first crusade to free Jerusalem. Wait, what? Did you think this was just about getting over an ex? Nope. It's been about liberating Jerusalem all along. Welcome to the real game, the Ausflug. Congratulations! Every single time. It's like clockwork, every single time. Just when you start feeling good again, and you're like walking down the street looking at a nice car, like, gonna buy that one, or thinking, this cute girl fancies me, gotta ask her out, oh wait a minute. But I was blocked. And there are words cannot express how much I miss you. I found our old photo, it made me think of you. I finally realized you're the one I need. I now see my mistake. And now my personal favorite. I had a dream about you. Seriously, every woman must have a bit of a witch in her. They have this uncanny ability to twist your soul, and if you let your guard down, they can completely devour you. So, why exactly do they come back? Is it a sudden realization of their mistakes? A harsh lesson from life? No. Those are mediocre explanations. These are just triggers, the surface reasons. They come back because the restored perceived balance of emotional investment leads to the reignition of attraction. That's it. They come back because the restored perceived balance of emotional investment leads to the reignition of attraction. That's the whole secret. Just like that, here she is, back in your life. And for them, it happens suddenly. It's literally like a switch. Just recently, Claire from Brooklyn described her experience in such a scenario. The pattern of their relationship was a classic one. Her boyfriend lost his job and became increasingly dependent on her. So she initially supported him, but as his dependency persisted, she began distancing herself. As he desperately chased after her, the attraction dropped and she eventually left. He made several attempts to win her back before coming to me, and after a period of time, she tried to get back to him. So here's her perspective. I remember the day I decided to leave him. It felt like the only choice I had, a step I needed to take to move forward. At first, I thought I was handling it well. My life seemed to be on track, just as I had planned. But then, one day, it hit me. He had stopped reaching out. For some reason, this realization came with a wave of unexpected and intense emotions, far deeper than any occasional nostalgia I had felt before. It was as if I was suddenly transported back to those days we spent together, and the thought of a life without him was unimaginable. I found myself questioning everything. Why did I leave him? Had I made a colossal mistake? In my mind, he transformed into the perfect match, the one that got away. The mere thought of him moving on, possibly with someone else, was unbearable, so I hailed a taxi and headed straight to him. Classic. So, walking away, it is essentially about getting your eyes back on the horizon and following your purpose. Who'd have thought, man, that it's that simple? Now, because of this, you suddenly find yourself on equal footing in terms of emotional investment. She's left, she's moving on, you're also moving on. Neither of you is reaching out. You're both on the same level now, and this is what reignites the old flame of attraction. In her mind, you transform back into the person she fell for. It is like you become yourself again in her eyes. And suddenly, she's hit with this wave of nostalgia. But remember, this is a perceived process. It is happening in your and her minds. For her to really get that you're now on more or less the same level again, it takes time. So it is not an instant thing. The time frame for this depends on how much imbalance was there at the point of the breakup. If you were less of a chaser, this realization comes sooner. If you chased more, it takes a bit longer. We're gonna dive into the specifics of this recovery timeline in the next section. Do you know how hard it hits them, by the way? How hard? The key difference between you and them is that they were the ones who made the decision to leave. Yes, the underlying forces were subconscious, but the final call to give up on you and walk away, that was all on them. You, on the other hand, you tried. You might be thinking you could have done more, but you made the effort, you fought for it. They, however, didn't. And because of that, they're left with this lingering thought, this nagging question. What if they had really, truly tried? What if they had put in a serious, conscious effort to make it work? And when life starts to throw challenges at them, that sense of guilt, it is going to hit hard. It is not just a fleeting regret. We're talking about a deep, gnawing guilt that will be utterly overwhelming. It is a heavy burden to carry, knowing that they didn't fight as hard as they could have. That's the kind of realization that can weigh on a person for a lifetime. Here is another story for you. It is truly unsettling. Happened around a year ago. A woman from Ontario, Canada. I have permission to share these stories, though I always change the names for privacy, the locations not so much. So this woman realized her colossal mistake 2 years post-breakup. The guy was genuinely good, he just happened to overinvest in the relationship and she lost her feelings for him. She didn't put up any fight to save what they had. He, on the other hand, tried multiple times to win her back. He was persistent, but it was fruitless. Then, as it often happens, her rebound relationship crashed and burned, and after some time she reached the point where she thought she should reach out to him, her ex, expecting him to jump at the chance to rekindle their romance. And she messaged him, no response. She called him, still no answer. So in a moment of curiosity, she checked his social media, something she hadn't done since they split. And what she found was a shock. He was getting married. When you see exes coming to the realization that they made a mistake years after the fact, but it is too late. The other person has moved on, built a new life, maybe even started a family. And there they are, the ones who left, desperately trying to reconnect, begging for another chance. Please give me another shot, I've made a mistake. Yes, some decisions are truly final, and you might even not know that. Once you cross certain lines, there's just no turning back. A hard lesson, but an essential one to remember. And if you take a step back and really ponder over this, you'll notice a fascinating pattern. Fascinating one. The behavior your ex shows post-breakup, when you strictly adhere to no contact, starts to mirror the typical actions of the dumped, who isn't maintaining no contact. Of course, individuals vary, so you might see some deviations, with some exes being more persistent or more reserved in their approach, more stubborn, but the general pattern holds. So imagine if you weren't practicing no contact. You might find yourself blocking and unblocking them, texting or calling them, liking their social media posts, inquiring about them through their friends or relatives, showing up at their place, trying to initiate unexpected meetings, pleading and begging for another chance. Now, switch the roles. When you're effectively maintaining no contact, your ex starts blocking and unblocking you, initiating contact through texts or calls, liking your social media posts, using their friends or relatives to reach out to you, making inquiries about you through friends and relatives, and begging you for another chance. Some of these overlap. There's also an anger stage, but the overall structure stands. Think about this. It's almost as if the behavior is inversed. Do you see the inversion here? The behaviors essentially flip. The one who's in the one-up strong position in the relationship, when faced with a solid no-contact stance, which is essentially the pull-away signal, they start to exhibit the behaviors associated with the one-down position. This is a critical insight, and understanding this can fundamentally alter how you handle post-breakup dynamics and relationships in general. One more time. The one who is in a one-up strong position, your ex, when confronted with the persistent pull-away signal, starts to display behaviors associated with the one-down weak position. They become the one-down. Your approach to relationships, especially in the aftermath of a breakup, will never be the same once you grasp the full implications of this behavior inversion. We'll delve into this more deeply in the next section in just a few minutes, so stay with me. Let's pause for a moment because I want to underline one very important thing. Is it inherently wrong to not just want to move on, but to actively seek a reunion? The system, the model I'm sharing, is extremely powerful and capable of facilitating both outcomes. Rapid relationship rebalance provides wonderful results, and I'm being humble here, but let me be clear, I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm an expert who knows what works and what doesn't in the realm of human interactions. The challenges and struggles people face in relationships are universal. Once you start your recovery journey, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can overcome obsession with the past and step into the life and relationship of your dreams. I can help you speed run this path, show you how to achieve the result you wish with the least effort, less pain. I can tell you, here's what most people do and this makes things worse, or hey look, this seems to be wrong, don't you think? And you can respond, yeah, how didn't I see this before? Or I can tell you, here's what we can do instead, and you, that makes sense. However, the decision of how to use this powerful system is entirely yours. You hold the power. If you genuinely believe that reuniting with your ex is the right path, then who am I to argue? You will not find any judgment or shame here. I've turned off my ego to be an unbiased guide for you. It is your choice. Do what feels right to you. But just keep this in mind, alright? When even thinking about accepting the ones who left you, know that when you were drowning in pain, feeling like the world was out to get you, contemplating some really dark stuff, being completely alone, in almost every case I've seen, they're out there having a blast, having fun, living it up like they just got out of jail, trying out new things, meeting new people. You might think, but what about all that subconscious stuff, the emotions and empathy being shut down? Sure, that's a thing. But if you're sitting here with me, chances are they didn't really break a sweat trying to understand what was happening. They didn't put up a fight for the relationship. For you. The moment things got a bit shaky, the moment they felt a dip in their unhappy chemicals, that dopamine, they started looking for the exit. They didn't stick around, and now when life starts throwing punches at them, suddenly they remember you, and they want to come crawling back. Just remember that, mate. It is rare, really rare, that someone who's genuinely right for you, someone who's supposed to be your ride or die, just ups and leaves. Remember that when they come knocking down. And here is another hard truth for you. If you just take them back without a second thought, listen, if you do not learn to stand up to people who do not value you, you're closing the door on those who will. They just will not show up. There won't be space for them in your life. Most people want their ex back because, let's face it, the ex made them feel good. That's their choice, they're right. But we're not here just to feel good, are we? Feeling better with someone is like a drug. You get your fix, you feel alright for a bit, but then what? You're left staring into the same void, the abyss of your future. A real solid, high-quality relationship isn't about feeling good. It is about becoming stronger together first and foremost, because that's our ultimate purpose here. And when you're stronger, happiness, health, success, freedom, they all come along for the ride as a reward. By the way, does your partner make you feel more free? A lot of guys I talk to, they laugh when I say this. They think relationships are about losing freedom. They begin to talk about responsibilities, chores, infinite mundane conversations, compromises, all that bullshit. But when they start getting the hang of a system, applying basics, seeing results, their minds change. They cannot go back to mediocre relationships. Because a high-quality relationship with a woman makes you more free. Do you know why? Why? Because it makes you stronger. And in our world, my friend, only strength can give you true freedom. Only strength gives you freedom in this world. When your partner actually complements you, when you're two parts of one, you become stronger. You have more spare time. You are more relaxed, more energetic. You become healthier. You have someone reliably covering your back. And men are like, wow, I get this limbic system voodoo. I see it works, but man, here you must be exaggerating. They do not even realize that a woman can grant them literal superpowers. They've never felt it. Women have this incredible ability to directly connect with a man's subconscious. They have a bypass. They can influence your hormonal levels, your testosterone, your cortisol. They help you bounce back from stress like nothing else in this world. Why is it Princess Zelda who restores the Master Sword for her knight, Link, in the latest games? Why not some old fool and blacksmith? Link can collect the mightiest swords, find the strongest armor, and vanquish every foe. He could even stand against Ganondorf alone, his ultimate enemy. Hell, even save every Korok in the land. But his journey becomes significantly easier with his ultimate weapon, the Master Sword. And only Princess Zelda can recharge that weapon, enhancing his power. And together with Link, they're unstoppable. Now think about your ex. Think about your ex. What kind of superpower did she bestow upon you? Was it the power of feeling good? The power of nagging? The power of constant self-doubt? The power of sky-high cortisol levels, where you're shifting from stress from the job, ruined economy, housing crisis, and a literal house crisis when you come back home, to only get another shot of cortisol. And cortisol is what's killing men like crazy these days. If your partner contributes to your stress levels, man, they're actually killing you. You can consider them your mortal enemies. This is not a joke. And I want you to imagine 3 versions of your future self. The first one, your alone knight. Strong, capable, and able to conquer challenges, defeat evil, and find happiness on your own. Second, you're pursuing your life purpose. Your eyes are on the horizon. And along the way, Princess Zelda notices you. She supports you, straightens you, helps restore your master sword, making your battles much easier. And the next version, you're in a relationship with a fucking bokoblin, fucking la creatura or something, who creates stress out of thin air. And believe me, we haven't even hit the real crisis yet. If you think this is bad, brace yourself. It is just the preamble, and you're staying with the type who only demands and never gives back, leaves when she's bored, only to return when her other options fail through, who's slowly killing you, my friend. And get this, she's out there, having the time of her life, while you're here with me. And the choice is obvious if you ask me. Only a woman can skyrocket your hormonal levels. It is like healthy steroids, natural supplements. It is an experience beyond words. If you've never felt it, it's like trying to describe the night sky to someone who's never seen it. Incomparable. Imagine a woman looking into your eyes, telling you she loves you. For real. Adores you. Finds comfort in you. Thinks you're a living god. She sees you as her hero every single day, not just on weekends or special occasions. Picture resting your head on her lap after a day of battling evil, life's challenges. Your hormonal levels soar and suddenly nothing can hold you back. That's your master sword, your fucking BFG, Link. But too often, men trade this incredible power for fleeting pleasure. If she's not doing this for you now, willingly, remember, no matter what you do, she never will. And now, the big question looms. As you're walking away, are you feeling any better? Are you? Fuck no! Especially in the short term, you're not feeling any better. This is the moment you think you're doing it wrong, like, is my no contact wrong? Like, again, you might think this is your fault. Probably you're not strong enough, right? Then comes some guy from YouTube or your counselor, coach with their advice, like dive into Stoic philosophy, practice forgiveness exercises, embrace full awareness of the problem, allow yourself to experience everything fully and unconditionally. Start journaling, meditate, engage in self-improvement, and of course, buy my course. But wait, buy my course, seriously. To understand why you're not feeling any better, let's start with the definitions. It may be a little bit too late for that, and I suck at this, man. My English sucks. My ability to give precise definitions sucks. But compared to 99.999% of the experts you've encountered, I'm a freaking genius. They're even worse, and that's tragic. Now, what is the essence of a breakup? What is the definition of a breakup? What exactly is a breakup, and what exactly are you experiencing right now? It is about time to delve into that. So I want you to visualize again. Picture this. You wake up in the morning, and there's this fleeting moment right after you open your eyes, a split second, where you're blissfully unaware of the reality, even happy, because your brain tricks you into thinking she's still there with you for a split second. Then, like a tidal wave, the crushing realization hits. She's gone. It's more than emotional. You feel the loss in your very core. It's somewhere here in your stomach. And then somehow you force yourself out of bed. And as you head to the bathroom and start your routine, your brain plays tricks on you again. There are these split-second lapses when you forget that she's gone. You think maybe she's cooking breakfast, or I should make coffee for her. And again the pain, the harsh reality sets in. She's not there. How did everything come to this? How did it happen? She's not there. And then you go to your workplace, and sometimes when you receive a message notification on your phone, your brain still thinks it must be her. For a split second, the buzz of a text message makes you think, if only for a moment, that it could be her. But it is not. In the car, you still find yourself glancing towards the passenger seat out of habit, expecting to see her there, choosing the music or laughing or some whatever. At work, you're momentarily distracted, but there are still some moments that your brain automatically connects with her. And when you return home, you still half expect her to be here. It's like you're coming to the door, and before you open it, you expect her greeting you. For a brief hopeful second, as you're opening the door, you forget. Simple home maintenance tasks suddenly become painful. You start the task, then pause, remembering how she would bring you the tools or hold the ladder. Your belongings are still here too, and her smell, the smell of her hair. And every reminder of her is like a micro-death. This micro-death happens when something that reminds you of her for a brief microsecond transports you back in time, and then the reality kicks in, and you're here at the present moment, devastated. You're thinking about what you'll do this evening, and your brain automatically thinks you choose a film or a show or a YouTube video. Wait, she's not with you anymore! And then your brain still expects her commentary on the show, her laughter, or even her mild complaints about a character. And as you start to wind down, you might turn off the TV or YouTube, whatever, open a book, but part of your mind waits for her cue to start the bedtime routine, perhaps turning off the lights or locking the doors, tasks that she usually handled. And she's not there. You're thinking about some stuff, oh, I have to ask her opinion. It's like you're still reliant on her, like she's a part of you that you've lost, and your brain still hasn't caught up in the fact that she's not there anymore. So what is this feeling? What do you call this experience, my friend? Those of you who have served in the military might already be familiar with the term. It's called phantom pain, my friend. Because a breakup is essentially the separation of one whole, intact unit into multiple parts. And it leaves behind a raw, gaping wound, a physical wound in your body. You've lost a part of yourself, a limb, if you will. And your body and brain are still in denial, deceived into believing it is there. They still rely on her presence. You see, during your relationship, your bodies developed a profound hormonal biochemical bond. Your very biology came to see your partner as an integral part of you. There is a tangible neural connection in your neocortex, formed over time you spent together, a living, breathing biological connection. She was a part of you, like a neural chip embedded deep within. And now she's gone. So how exactly are you supposed to feel better when all you're doing is walking away with a gaping wound? How does awareness help treat the physical wound, man? You are already aware it's there. It's fucking there! Can focusing on this wound, practicing awareness of it, or meditating, make it heal? What about throwing yourself into self-improvement? While it still bleeds, yeah, let's experience it fully. While it still fucking bleeds, man. Don't you find it strange that first you're advised to engage in activities that do not save your relationship, but instead contribute to its demise, and then as you're trying to recover, you're advised to do things that do not aid your healing, but rather feed into your sense of guilt? It's all your fault again, isn't it? The relationship is over, you feel shattered months later, sometimes even years. Your fault. Because you're lazy, not strong enough, not doing enough. And now I see people who cannot move on from their past, lingering in their memories for months, even years after a breakup. People who keep reaching out to their exes, holding on to a history that has faded away. Those who are unable to let go, trapped in a cycle of pain and longing for literal years, man. All they're trying to do is to reattach the missing link. And it can be even more profound because sometimes the connection is so intense that you almost merge with them. And when they leave, you lose a part of yourself as well. That's how significant it is. And that's why it hurts so much. That's why conventional approaches often fall short. And that's precisely why you are here. You are here because everything you've tried so far failed to deliver. Do you know why they fail to deliver? It's because trying to fix your psychology is futile if you're not addressing your biology first. Biology always comes first and foremost. If your hormonal levels are out of balance, no amount of meditation or journaling will make you feel better. If you do not have a leg, no amount of self-improvement will make you run or jump. You'll need a prosthetic. And so to effectively heal our wounds, we have two key tasks to tackle. The first one, rewire neural connections in our conscious mind. We cannot just erase the neural connections in our neurocortex. We can only build new, stronger ones. And second, we have to stabilize our subconscious. Primarily, we do this by balancing our hormonal levels. I'm not talking about drinking testosterone. The needed effect can be achieved through very specific, practical, proven activities. And then there's also a secret, third task. Here we'll take a private jet to Vatican for some exorcism activities. It wasn't a joke, it's a prescription. So, to start feeling better, not in months, but in weeks or even days, we must diligently address these tasks. The primary challenge lies in finding a specific handcrafted solution tailored just for you. We'll delve into this in depth tomorrow, and I'll need to have a chat with each of you individually, obviously. Now, we've reached the final part. This marks the point where you tick off long-term relationship from your checklist. Done. That's it, nothing more to do here. Time to move on to your next goal. Just a heads up, you might want to brace yourself because what I'm about to share might be tough to hear. It could shatter some illusions, but if you truly grasp it, there will be no more unanswered questions about why the breakup happened, how to prevent it from happening again, and how it all actually works. And you will not hear this from anyone else. And all this lies at the core of the relationship rebalance system. Long-term relationships depend primarily on subconscious communication. Verbal conscious communication plays a secondary role despite what everyone around tells you. How does this subconscious communication occurs? How do we communicate on the level of the limbic system and lizard brain? Since these systems are ancient, they respond exclusively to simple yet powerful signals. Today we're going to discuss just two of them. And you, my friend, probably already recognize them. The first signal, when you draw closer and direct your emotional focus towards your partner, investing more in your connection, your relationship. And the second signal, when you withdraw and shift your emotional focus away from your partner to your divine purpose, investing less. So, if you look back at the moments your relationship started to decline, you'll see these signals clearly. The times you drew closer or drifted apart, the moments your emotional focus was on her or elsewhere. You will notice that problems arose exactly when there was a significant, sometimes massive imbalance between these signals. The attraction between you two begins to fade when you invest an immense amount of emotional focus on your partner, while they divert theirs elsewhere for an extended period of time. Essentially, it is the disparity between these two levels of investment, yours and theirs, that becomes too vast. And most people, they mess up by focusing only on the side effects of this whole process. They see stonewalling, they see criticism, they see contempt, and they're like, oh, these are the real issues. I just got to work with my communications. Honey, we're going to the counselor. How many of you tried this shit? But here you are. You've got solid communication skills with everyone else, right? You even had great communication with your ex once upon a time, but now suddenly it seems like you've lost that ability. A grown-ass adult who's faced down countless challenges, stared fears in the face, and come out on top. And you're telling me you've just forgotten how to talk to women? Come on now, man. It's like that scene with Peter Griffin, forgetting how to sit. He approaches the chair, hesitates for a second, and then just body slams it, because he's somehow forgotten how to sit down. That's how ridiculous it sounds. But here is the real deal. The communication problems didn't start the fire. They're not the root cause. They sprouted up precisely because of the imbalance in emotional investment. To understand this, envision your relationship as a dance, a dynamic and rhythmic dance. You take a step towards her, she steps back, creating a balance. Then she steps towards you, and you reciprocate with a step back. Sometimes you might step towards her as a response, closing the distance a little bit more, and then maybe she'll make 2 steps back. It's this back and forth, this ebb and flow that keeps the fucking dance alive, man. But watch out, when this dance morphs into a one-way street, where you're the only one moving closer and she's continuously stepping back, that's your red flag. That's when you need to hit the damn brakes, man. Understand that you're heading into troubled waters and it is time to recalibrate, to rebalance. You get it? Stop the chase, cease initiating. By doing so, you're not just avoiding problems, you're actively working to restore the balance and keep the dance of your relationship vibrant and alive, to keep the attraction vibrant and alive. By the way, friends, now you're getting a glimpse into the mechanics of some of the most potent emotional manipulation tactics. Now you're protected against these tactics. And women are naturals at this. Men, of course, can pull it off too, but for us it's usually a more conscious effort. Women, on the other hand, can weave these emotional spells subconsciously, automatically. Let's break it down. So, everything seems peachy in your relationship, and out of the blue, she pulls back. Then, just as suddenly, she's all warmth and closeness again. Before you know it, she's retreating once more. And there you are, completely obsessed. This hot and cold behavior, it's what we call emotional contrast manipulation. Now you understand why it is so effective. It sneaks past your conscious mind, grabs hold of your limbic system, your primal instincts, by sending these clear signals. It creates this emotional tornado. And if your conscious mind isn't strong enough, it'll play right into this game. You'll find yourself constantly pondering, what is going on? Did I do something wrong? Wow, she's a mysterious woman. Oh, she ghosts me now. Why is she giving me mixed signals? Now you know why. She's either a conscious or naturally born manipulator. And the next manipulation, love bombing. It's when someone overwhelms you with affection, sometimes for a few days, sometimes for a month. They just shower you with attention. And then suddenly, they're gone. That's the same trick, an intense surge of closeness followed by a stark withdrawal. A drastic change in the emotional investment signals. Now you're protected against it as well, you can easily spot it. So, you're starting to see the pattern, right? You're beginning to grasp the power of this knowledge. How it explains so much of the relationship dynamics. You're almost there, my young Padawan, but hold on, there's more. So stay with me. just scratching the surface of understanding the art of emotional balance in relationships. Here is the real zinger. This principle, this system of measuring and controlling imbalance, it applies to all human interactions. What I'm sharing with you isn't just some temporary patch. It's a framework, a system for recognizing patterns in relationships. It is actually an extremely powerful pattern recognition system. Now, take a look around. Apply these lens to your family, friends, colleagues, business partners. You'll start to see it everywhere. It is glaringly obvious once you know what to look for, but somehow everyone in your life has steered you away from this simple truth. It is actually so simple, isn't it? Make a list of people who are investing less in the relationship than you are, and I bet you that in 90 to 95% of the cases, you'll find these are the most life-draining, toxic relationships in your entire life. And these relationships typically end when the other party finds a new source to leech energy from, leaving you high and dry. So one more time so you would have absolute clarity. The whole game of relationships boils down to understanding and managing two key signals of emotional investment between you and your partner. The first signal, getting closer. This is where you're leaning in, showing more affection, more attention, more of your time and emotional energy. The second signal, pulling away. This is the opposite. It's about creating the distance, not in a negative way, but in a way that says, I have my own life, my own goals and passions outside of this relationship. It's about taking a step back, recalibrating, rebalancing, and ensuring your own emotional focus isn't entirely consumed by the relationship. And this allows you to maintain this dance of attraction. Newsflash, no contact essentially falls under the second signal. You're pulling the fuck away. As a result, the balance in the emotional investments is restored. This is precisely why it reignites attraction. It corrects the perceived imbalance in how much each partner is emotionally vested. This is why you do not really need to do anything. They're just at your doors. I'm not exaggerating. And the goal here is to achieve the balance naturally. And if you remember the beginning of your relationship, this balance was maintained naturally. So you're not sitting out there calibrating the amounts she texted you and texting her back only if she does this and that first. No. You shift your emotional focus to what truly matters in your life, to your own purpose. Whether that's your career, a hobby, or fitness, it's about redirecting your energies and attention back to your own path, your own journey. Now, do you remember our discussion about how, if you maintain no contact, the behavior of your ex starts to resemble what your behavior would be if you weren't in no contact? It is similar to the typical behavior of someone who's been dumped. Let's recap. So if you strictly maintain no contact, your ex begins to send you signals or pings by blocking and unblocking you, reach out by texting or calling, ask about you through your friends or relatives, have their friends or relatives talk to you, arrange accidental meetings on the street. This is exactly the same as the behavior of a typical dumpy. Guess what? There is an explanation for this. There are deep reasons behind it. So let's look at this chart. Now, I know the charts are boring and kids these days, they have an attention span of a graffiti artist in a police chase, fleeting and sporadically focused. This is why I've prepared for you something to keep you hooked, so 1, 2, here you go. So on this chart we'll take a look at your relationship from above, so you'll have a crystal clear picture, you'll know what to expect. Like a drone on a battlefield, where you're fighting for your life, while some soy on Twitter sends out his cheers watching the video recordings. So here is the axis for their emotional investment. Here is 0%, here is 100%. 0 means they do not care about you, 100% means they're obsessed. Of course, all the numbers here are just for example. Mother Nature isn't really into these numbers like 100%, 0. These are just for example, so you would get the clear picture. And here is the axis for time. Let's say this is January, this is February, and this is March. So, the higher on this chart, the more invested they are, the more attracted to you they are. So at this level, 50–55%, you are equally emotionally invested. Somewhere here, 60–65, they are a bit more invested than you are. They're not really chasing you, but they clearly show a lot more affection for you. And here below they are not as invested as you are, meaning they're a little bit distant. At this level, 70, let's say, they tell you, I love you. Somewhere here below, you feel something changed. Right here, they begin to criticize you more actively. Criticism, stonewalling, blah blah blah. You should understand that all this can occur no matter where they are. It depends on their character. But right here, it intensifies, escalates. And right here, they tell you, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. The spark is gone. And right here, they tell you, bye. Now, again, depending on their character, they might leave a bit sooner. If they are dopamine addicted, they'll leave somewhere here, but the pattern will still be the same. So here you are, little nightling, appearing at the deepest of pits, at the bottom. This is where you come to me. Well, if you're lucky, because most of the time people arrive when they're already at this point, below zero. Okay, you start your relationship somewhere here where it's all sunshine and rainbows. Usually they're more invested, especially if it's a woman. Then, as time progresses, something shifts. They pull away and you begin compensating. You begin to invest more, they begin to withdraw. Like right here, they're not really interested anymore. Usually they stay with you here if you have huge amount of objective benefits, or if you too have some anchors, like kids for example. Sometimes they might prolong the process. They're cold and you're extremely warm and anxious at this level. Now, here is where they leave. At this level, you are invested and they are not. 20%, 10% from their side, or even lower. And 80 to 90 to 100% from your side. Again, they're extremely cold and you are warm. Now, if you keep trying to get them back, this goes way below zero. Like, somewhere here they begin to be annoyed, somewhere here they despise you. You get the idea. At the lower levels, they experience indifference. If you're really persistent, it shifts into annoyance or even hate. By the way, you can also treat this chart as a chart of how you feel. At this level, you feel amazing. Right here, you feel like shit. So, as you can see, it's all connected. Okay, let's assume that At this level, you finally had enough and you're going the infamous no contact. Here's what's going to happen. There's some inertia, it doesn't change instantly. The process isn't instantaneous. And then something like that. So, if you're consistent with sending your pull-away signal, here's what's going to happen. Since your investment now is none to zero, the perceived balance of the emotional investment begins to restore. The process isn't linear. It can fluctuate up, down, down when they're focused on their affairs, their perfect life without you, up when life hits them hard and they begin thinking of you, or after a couple of months when they realize that you stopped fucking texting them 24/7. And right here, at this level, right here, they are at your doors. Oh wait, that's my ex. Here you go. Isn't she beautiful? Yes, she is at your doors. Now, we clearly see that the time-lapse primarily depends on the level of imbalance between you two. So, if you chased a lot, if you're somewhere here, we usually need more time to get here. And if the imbalance wasn't massive, if, for example, like, you should see that if you started your actions here, alright? But usually you start here or even here. By the way, does it look familiar? You've probably read about stages of no contact. That's them. That's literally them. So, let's draw them. So, indifference, worry, sometimes anger, anxiety, desperation. So here's indifference, here's anger, where when they're pissed, they might skip this stage. Here's nostalgia, worry, and here's where they experience sense of loss. A deep, profound loss. That deep, profound feeling in your stomach that you're experiencing now, probably it gets them right here. So when even thinking about accepting them, you should keep in mind that your true Zelda is awaiting you in the future, a partner whose loyalty and commitment are unwavering. The chance of your destined Zelda leaving you is none to zero. Like she's somewhere here in the future. God damn it. Sorry, I just have to do this. I just cannot. Yeah, thank you, Karma. God damn it. So, she's here. I can assure you, she's out there, and she's waiting for you, somewhere, maybe on a bus stop, subway, maybe on a plane, maybe on a yacht. But she's waiting, and she is lonely. She's just like you, and she's holding your master sword. I do not know your ex. We'll discuss her, of course, because this is a part of the program, but I just know that in the vast majority of cases, it's this. It's fucking this. At least inside. So by choosing this, you're leaving your Zelda alone. She's there all alone, and she'll be sitting there like a fucking Peggy Carter. She's sitting there in a restaurant, waiting for her captain. But Cap isn't coming. He never arrives. And it's even worse. If you settle for this one, here's what's going to happen. A manifestation of evil. A huge man with a big nose, Ganondorf, gets your Zelda, he gets Zelda, and he gets your master sword, your toast. Also, here's the moment when you could have actually saved the relationship by not allowing the imbalance to grow. If you had stopped here, the breakup wouldn't have happened. So this was the point. And right here, you do not even need such things as no contact. All you had to do at this point to return your eyes to the horizon, and that's it. So now you know. Now imagine if you are somewhere here where your emotional investment is very low and you're trying to reach out to mend things. Here's what happens. Trying to reignite an old flame here at this level is like striking a match on a wet surface. You're not igniting anything, you're just wearing down the strike pad. If it's not dry, do not even try it. Now I want to show you something truly fascinating. And the thing is, you usually go through such stages as desperation, anxiety, and then indifference, because most men who reunited with their exes find themselves feeling a stark indifference towards them. Here's a table to illustrate this. And your ex goes through stages of indifference, worry, sometimes anger, followed by anxiety, desperation. Do you see it now? A complete inversion. Your experience and the experience of your partner are inversed. One down becomes one up, and one up becomes one down. You become one up and they become one down. We call this dominance inversion. And the funny thing is, one of my clients recently found a good demonstration of this. He noticed this in the chat history with his ex. So during no contact, she traversed the same stages that he traversed when she left him. So he checked her messages and they were exactly like his messages, but in a reversed order. This is just an illustration, and it's important to understand that there is no one equal. There's no such thing as one equal. There should be just one captain on a ship. A ship cannot exist without a captain. A relationship cannot exist without one up and one down positions. Now sometimes they might shift, but usually it's only when you are in bed. Now this chart is the same for men and women, but there's one important detail. The optimal values of emotional investment. For women it's 60% minimum, for men 40%. A rare woman will stay with a man who loves her, but every woman will stay with a man she loves. One more time, a rare woman will stay with a man who loves her, but every woman will stay with a man she loves. It is more important for them to love than to be loved, and they will tell you the opposite, of course. Most women will tell you that they want to be loved. Deception. They want to fall in love, primarily. Of course, ideally with the person who loves them, but this is completely optional. Now, maybe your woman is an exception and she doesn't really want to fall in love with you, which is normal nowadays. She's a free human being, right? I do not know, but this has been proven by the outstanding track record of my clients. This is a go-to dynamic for a healthy, successful, happy relationship. Everyone's happy. And you have your master sword, and she has her knight. So if you allow yourself to invest 60, 70, 80%, you're doomed to infinite breakups. You're doomed to infinite heartbreak, because your woman will be losing interest. Her limbic system will see through your dependent behavior, and no matter how good you are to her, she'll tell you, "You're a nice guy, you truly are. But Jeff," you now might ask, but wait, does it mean that you're constantly supposed to track the amount of emotional investment? Like calculate how many texts she sends you, how many hugs she gives you? If you have your eyes on the horizon, no. Because then the balance of emotional investment will be maintained naturally. But if your eyes are not on the horizon, if you haven't yet found your true purpose and decided to establish the relationship before you found your purpose, then yes. In the beginning, especially, you must vet them before getting attached to them. You must check whether they are ready for mutually beneficial relationships. For example, if during your dating phase you see that they begin engaging in this hot, cold behavior, giving you strong, one-directed signals, just dump them instantly then and move on to the next one. No questions asked, saving yourself months, if not years. And then you must also track it when you feel that things go south, to not allow this imbalance to grow. But again, if you just follow the natural order of things, your purpose will not allow you to overinvest. You'll simply have no time for this bullshit. So there you have it. Now you obviously have a lot of questions, so let's begin today's Q&A session.